Am I the asshole for filming two women at a restaurant when I was actually just taking a photo of artwork? Look, I never thought I'd be writing this post. I'm still sitting here, beer buzz completely killed, trying to wrap my head around what just went down at dinner tonight. My dad and I just got accused of something so ridiculous that I'm questioning reality itself. But according to these two women, we're the problem. So here I am, turning to the internet jury because I genuinely need to know, are we the assholes here? Let me set the scene for you. Tonight was supposed to be a chill evening. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated, just me and my old man hitting up this Lebanese spot we'd been meaning to try. You know how it is. Good food, cold beers, that perfect father-son vibe where you're actually talking instead of just staring at your phones. We ordered way too much food, obviously, and everything was hitting just right. The hummus, the kebabs, the whole spread. We were in that golden zone where the conversation's flowing and you're genuinely having a great time. About halfway through dinner, my dad suddenly perks up and points across the dining room. There's this beautiful painting hanging on the wall. Clearly, someone important, done in that classical Arabic calligraphy style with ornate details. My dad gestures at it and goes, "Hey, you know who that is?" Now, here's some context. I've lived in Tunisia and Egypt. I speak Arabic, and I'm generally into Middle Eastern culture, so my dad naturally assumes I might recognize whoever this musician or historical figure is in the painting. Honestly, I had no clue. But my dad was genuinely curious, and I thought it would be cool to find out. So I did what literally anyone in 2025 would do. I pulled out my phone to snap a quick picture so I could ask my Arabic-speaking friends later. I took maybe one photo, tops, maybe two if the first one was blurry. We were sitting there, having a brief conversation about the painting, pointing at it, appreciating the artwork. The whole interaction lasted maybe 2 minutes before we went back to our food and conversation. No big deal, right? Wrong. We finish our meal, we're feeling good, ready to head out and call it a perfect night. That's when the owner of the restaurant approaches us, and the look on his face? Not good. He pulls us aside, kind of awkwardly like he doesn't really want to be having this conversation, and drops this absolute bomb on us. Two ladies who are seated near you have filed a complaint. They're saying you've been filming them and harassing them for hours. I'm sorry, what? Both my dad and I just freeze. We're looking at each other like we've entered the Twilight Zone. Filming them? Harassing them? For hours? We hadn't even noticed any women near us. We were in our own world, eating our food, talking about life. This had to be some kind of mistake. We're stumbling over our words, asking the owner who he's talking about, where these women are, because this is clearly some insane mix-up. He points toward the exit, and we see these two older women, probably in their 60s or 70s, walking out the door. We don't even think. We just rush outside because we need to clear this up immediately. This is a serious accusation, and we're not about to let it sit there festering. We catch up to them in the parking lot, and we're trying to be respectful, but also like, hey, excuse me, there's been a huge misunderstanding here. And that's when it clicks. These two women had been sitting at a table directly beneath that painting. The exact painting my dad and I had been looking at and discussing. The painting I'd taken a photo of. They thought we were pointing at them. They thought I was filming them. I immediately try to explain, no, we were looking at the artwork behind you. My dad was asking about the painting and I took a photo so I could identify the person in it later. We weren't even aware you were sitting there. We're so sorry for the confusion. My dad's nodding, backing me up, also apologizing for the misunderstanding. We're both genuinely trying to smooth this over because we understand how it might have looked from their perspective. From their angle, it probably did seem like we were staring in their direction and holding up a phone. I get it. That would make anyone uncomfortable. But here's where this whole thing goes completely off the rails. Instead of accepting our explanation, or even just our apology, these women doubled down. One of them, arms crossed, goes on this whole lecture about social rules and how we should have been more observant of our surroundings. The other one is shaking her head, saying our apology means nothing because we were irresponsible in the first place. They refuse to accept that it was a genuine mistake, refuse to acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, they had misread the situation. Instead, they're acting like we deliberately invaded their privacy and now we're trying to gaslight them or something. The whole tone was accusatory and self-righteous, like we were children being scolded. We tried one more time to explain, to apologize again, but they literally turned their backs and walked away, muttering to each other. My dad and I stood there in the parking lot completely deflated. Our amazing evening, the good food, the great conversation, the bonding time, all of it just ruined, tainted by this bizarre confrontation.
We drove home in near silence, both of us processing what had just happened. And here's what's eating at me. I keep replaying it in my head. Should we have been more careful about where we were pointing? Maybe. Should I have been more aware of who was sitting near the painting before I took the photo? Probably. But the idea that we were harassing them for hours is absolutely insane. We weren't even in that restaurant for hours total, let alone spending hours focused on them. The whole thing feels like a massive overreaction to an honest mistake. But these women were so convinced we were in the wrong, so unwilling to accept our apology or explanation, that now I'm second-guessing myself. Were we actually the assholes here? Should we have done something differently? I'm genuinely asking because this has completely messed with my head. A perfect evening with my dad is now this sour memory, and I don't even know if we deserved it. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Edit. Wow, okay, I'm reading through the comments and I'm seeing a clear verdict here. Y'all think we're the assholes. I'm trying to understand the perspective. Yes, we should have been more aware of our surroundings. Yes, I should have thought about how pointing and taking photos might look to someone sitting in that direction. I genuinely didn't think about it in the moment, but I'm hearing y'all loud and clear. Lesson learned. Top comments. You're the asshole, and here's why. You took out your phone and photographed in the direction of strangers in a public space without checking what else was in frame. Doesn't matter what your intention was, what matters is what you actually did. Those women had no way of knowing you were interested in a painting. From their perspective, two men spent their dinner gesturing at them and taking photos. That's genuinely threatening behavior, especially for older women dining alone. The social rules comment they made, that's them trying to explain basic situational awareness to you. Before you take photos in a restaurant, you glance around to make sure you're not capturing people who haven't consented. It's really that simple. Author, you're right. I should have been way more careful about what was in the frame and who was around. In the moment, I was just focused on the painting, but that's not an excuse. I get why they felt uncomfortable now. Comment. I'm Tunisian and I'm dying to know, did you ever find out who was in the painting? But seriously, soft YTA. I get the cultural appreciation angle here, but you've lived in Arab countries, so you should know that people in that region are actually more cautious about photography and privacy, not less. You should have known better. Author. Honestly, no, I still don't know who it was. After everything that happened, I didn't want to ask the restaurant owner. And you're absolutely right. I lived in Cairo for 2 years, and people there were super careful about photos. I should have applied that same awareness here. Total blind spot on my part. Comment. Former restaurant manager here. I've dealt with this exact situation before, and let me tell you, the owner was probably dreading that conversation with you. Nobody wants to accuse customers of something like this, but if someone complains about harassment, we legally have to address it. Those women probably felt uncomfortable for a while before they said anything. By the time they complained, they'd been sitting there feeling watched and violated for however long. That's why they were so angry. It wasn't just about one photo. It was about the cumulative experience of feeling surveilled during their meal. You're YTA for not being aware, but I don't think you're a bad person. Just learn from this. Author. God, I didn't even think about what the owner was going through. He seemed really uncomfortable, and now I understand why. Thanks for this perspective. It helps me understand why they were so upset, even after we tried to explain. Comment. Info. When you took the photo, did you try to angle your phone so they wouldn't be in the shot? Did you zoom in on the painting, or did you just point and shoot in their general direction? Because if you just held up your phone and clicked without thinking about framing, yeah, you're YTA. Author. Honest answer? I just pointed and shot. I wasn't thinking about framing or who might be in the background. I was focused on getting the painting in frame, but I didn't consider anything else. So yeah, that's on me. Comment. I'm a woman in my late 60s, and I want to offer a perspective here that might help you understand their reaction. Women my age have spent our entire lives being photographed, catcalled, and harassed without consent. We've been told we're overreacting, being dramatic, misunderstanding innocent situations. We've had men explain away their behavior a million times. So when something like this happens, we're not just reacting to this incident, we're reacting to a lifetime of similar experiences. When you approach them in the parking lot to explain, what they heard was, here are two men following us outside to tell us we're wrong about our own experience. Even if that wasn't your intent, that's how it felt. I believe you that it was a misunderstanding, but I also believe them that they felt harassed. Both things can be true. You're YTA for not being more careful, but I hope you'll take this as a learning experience. Author. God, I didn't even think about what the owner was going through. He seemed really uncomfortable, and now I understand why. Thanks for this perspective. It helps me understand why they were so upset even after we tried to explain. Comment. Okay, but can we talk about how wholesome it is that your dad was genuinely curious about the painting and you wanted to help him find out who it was? Like, the whole situation sucks, but that's actually really sweet father-son bonding right there. That said, you're YTA for the reasons everyone else mentioned. Maybe next time just ask the waiter about the painting. They'd probably be happy to tell you. Author. Haha, thanks. My dad and I are pretty close, and he loves learning about different cultures. And you're 100% right. Asking the waiter would have been the obvious solution. Didn't even cross my mind in the moment.
Write what you think about this situation. Also, if you like this video, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the bell to receive notifications about the latest videos. See you next time. Bye-bye.